Okay, well, it's that time of year again. The filing deadline for calling a bond has ended in Texas. August 22nd was that deadline. So there were a slew of meetings that happened for various taxing entities, cities, counties, school boards, service districts, etc. Last night, Monday night. So we are going through looking up who has called a bond and who has not. And there's a lot of different sites that do kind of track that stuff. But there isn't really a comprehensive site. So I kind of have to piecemeal it together. And I do have a post on my Facebook page where I've been working on that. You might have seen this. It's a crowdsourcing post. This is a list of all the ISDs that I have, or all the entities I have found so far. Cities, counties, college district, and ISD. And this is an updated list. It will continue to be updated as we find more stuff. But now that the deadline has passed, I wanted to check especially my county, Ellis County, to see what kind of bonds have been called. So I was clicking around and I checked Little Ferris Independent School District. They are off of 45. I already know Red Oak has a bond. They've been very open and transparent about the fact that, and public about the fact that they are calling another bond this November. So we've known that. Ferris, we haven't heard a peep from. So I went and checked it out, and you can do this too with a school district or any other taxing entity. They have to have public meetings. These days, most of the stuff can be found online. So if I go to the Board of Trustees, I can find the meeting minutes and agendas, okay? And I've done this for multiple school districts and cities today already. So there is a meeting August 16th. That's right before the deadline, isn't it? So if I go to their agenda over here and pull it up, then I can see the stuff that they did. Not every district offers hyperlinked documents like this. Ferris does, Red Oak does, several others do. But if I scroll down, I'm going to find there's their bond discussion. Consideration. Consider an order calling a bond election for November 8th. And it has two different things, but this is the one we're looking at. The order calling the election. This is the legal contract that they are considering. All the other stuff that you're going to see on their website is basically propaganda. So anyway, this is it. So I downloaded this document and verified with the district that yes, they did vote on this. They did not table it. The bond has been called. So to make it a little bit easier to navigate, I went ahead and printed it out. And I'm going to walk through this real quick. I'm not going to read every word, but this is your basic bond. Okay? The order calling the bond election. Who's doing it? Okay. And then we get into the contract here, section 1, 2, 3, all about the voting, where it's ordered. Section 4, voting, who's a voter. Then we get into section 8. This is the meat of the bond. This is the bond proposal. Proposition A, they have 3 props, A, B, and C. I have blinged it up for you. Each bond proposition, pretty much everywhere, asks 2 questions. Shall the board issue the bonds? And shall the board tax to pay off the bonds? So here, the first question, shall they issue bonds for how much? 11 million. And then underlined is the reason. They've gotten pretty specific on this one because they're limiting it to specific schools. And then the second question, and shall the board levy and pledge and cause to be assessed and collected taxes without limit as to rate or amount. So if you see a district that is saying, oh, this won't raise your taxes, or no, this won't affect your taxes, that's a pinky swear. They might think, they might project, they might estimate that it will not affect your taxes. But every single bond is millions of dollars being borrowed that has to be paid off. And they can't just pull that money out of thin air. It comes out of your pocket. So and all three propositions follow the same pattern. All the propositions across Texas follow this same pattern, whether it is a city bond ordinance or an ISD bond order. So each prop, 2 questions. I highlighted them in pink. And on Ferris, this one's 11 million, this one's 8 million, this one's 4.5 million. Those don't sound too bad in 2022 dollars. That brings the cost of all 3 propositions to $23.5 million. But wait, there's more. So let's keep reading this. So this is the ballot language. This is what people will see when they go vote. They're not going to see this explanation on their ballot. So you have to tell them that. They're going to see this. So very watered down version of what those propositions meant. It will say this is a property tax increase, and the districts will all say, oh, that doesn't really apply to us. But it does. And levying the tax and payment thereof. All 3 of these. So we have the ballot language. We have the legal proposition language. Moving on. More sections as required by law. They have to address a lot of different verbiage. This is a biggie right here. These are their required disclosures. Okay? The proposition language, got it. The purpose in the proposition. Principal amount of the debt obligations, those were all covered, A, B, and C. And then if the bonds are approved, the board will be authorized to levy taxes without limit as to rate or amount. All 3 bonds, all 3 propositions address that. Without limit, and without limit. Okay, and that's the same. It's boilerplate language. Why? Because it's a reality. It is an absolute reality for taxing entities in Texas. Okay, so compliance with federal law, and so we're back to this. So this includes not only that they have to include this stuff, it tells us about the estimated interest to pay it off based upon bond market conditions. They're estimating it to be 6%. And usually we see to be paid off in 20, 30, 35, 40 years. They're not even putting that on here this time. Oh, no, wait, never mind. It is. On this one, 25 years. So they are limiting it to a 25-year note. So I should highlight that part. I forgot about that part. And so this has the aggregate amount of the outstanding principal of the current debt. They already still owe $27 million, and the interest on that is $8 million. So you've got outstanding debt already. This is going to add on to it. And of course, these props have their own interest, and we're going to see that. And it includes what the current debt rate is. So next part of a bond order, you usually see the election information. There was one year that Red Oak ISD held their own election. They did not contract with the county at all. So people had to go vote in 2 different places. But for this one, they are contracting with the county, and they are in two counties. So they've got Ellis County and Dallas County. And it says early voting location, dates, and hours. We already know that early voting in Texas is starting October 24th. So you need to plan right now to be at the polls on October 24th. Wherever you are, polls are going to be open that day, and somebody's going to be wanting your money. So election day is November 8th, 2022, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. That's standard. So those are important dates. If you wait till election day, you're screwed. This particular bond order includes these voter information documents, which is really handy because it summarizes the ballot language and it gives you the math, the calculations, principal amount, estimated interest, and the total amount. So the total estimated amount of this little $11 million bond is going to be $20 million bucks. And then this gives you the combined total current debt. So if only Prop A passes, this is going to be your two debt levels. So Proposition A, Proposition B, $8 million turns into 16. Proposition C, $4.5 million turns into $9 million. So when we take it, all the principal, all the interest, and the current debt, we're looking at all three packages being $45 million, almost $46 million of new debt for the Ferris ISD. That bumps the total ISD debt up to $81 million. So all these little millions here and there start adding up. Please go through these bond orders, find them, because like I said, this one isn't even being advertised. They aren't announcing this bond on their website. They aren't announcing it on their social media. There wasn't even like an article written up about this particular bond. I had to go to the meeting agendas to find it. So do your due diligence, figure it out, and share this. Let people know. And FYI, for Ferris specifically, you're going to see what they tell you these are for, but this is all that it is. For constructing, designing, and equipping school facilities, consisting of renovations and classroom additions at Lee Elementary and Ferris Junior High, and district-wide campus safety and security improvements. That's it. Do you see any pictures here? No. Do you see any plans? No. Designs? No. If it's not written in the contract, it's not binding. Just like when you buy a house, if you want to keep the furniture and it's not written in the contract, do they have an obligation to let you keep it? No. Make sure whatever's written in the contract matches what they're showing you. And if they're showing you something that's not written, it's a nice idea, but it's not binding. Proposition B, purpose of construction. Constructing, designing, and equipping a new early college technology facility at Ferris High School. That's it. So again, designs, plans, all great ideas, not binding. They still have to go through the entire bid process on all of this. Proposition C, for the purpose of constructing, designing, and equipping improvements to the baseball, softball complex. So yeah, we're in the middle of a recession and we're going to look at baseball. So anyway, and if they think that spending $4.5 million plus interest on baseball is a good idea in the middle of a recession, coming out of a government shutdown and deadly pandemic, good luck with how they're spending the rest of your money and how they're going to handle these other things. We are encouraging everybody to vote no on pretty much every bond everywhere because of the ton of just bloated budgets and outrageous spending that's been happening for years, decades. So I'm going to shut this down. Check out the beginning of the video, share the video, and like I said, go find a bond near you. Cities, counties, and your ISDs. Have fun. See you at the polls October 24th.